We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars. We won't. So we learn to look back. Very, very pissed off.
Once in a year, in Spain, there comes a time when thousands of writers put their pens to the paper for this title. The best writer in Spain. Each year, one winner. Except for in 1979. The date for the submission of the stories was just announced. Patricia, the winner of the competition for 2 consecutive years, was aiming to make it a three-peat. He was confident in his stories and the genre of the year being thriller, his specialty. He was almost sure he would win it. There was a new writer in the game who made him feel threatened. Luis. Patricia saw potential in him. However, he could not let an upstart writer snatch the chance of making history from him. So he came up with a plan. There were 15 days till the submission of the story. If he could somehow get Luis' story, even one day before the deadline, he knew he could submit a better one. And so, Patricia hired a spy. Patricia could not find Luis's photo in any newspaper, but he found an article stating that Luis sat on a bench in Aragon Park when writing his stories. And so, Patricia instructed Pedro to go there every day for 14 days and report back on what Luis was writing. Pedro read the script when Luis took breaks to smoke and feed the birds. On the first day, Pedro reported with the gist of the scripts. The gist was to win the title of the best writer in Spain. A writer appoints a spy to know the story of his peer. Patricia could not believe his ears. It was like Luis was writing about Patricia's life. He eagerly and anxiously awaited Pedro's next update. Pedro reported back on the second day. Patricia is shocked to know that his own story is being drafted by Luis. Patricia was mystified. But he saw an opportunity in this strange turn of events. He would copy Luis's script and submit the story as his own with one day before Luis starts, but with a better ending. In this way, he was guaranteed to win the title. He asks Pedro to continue with the job given. On the third day, Pedro reported back saying, the writer in Luis's story decided to copy his peer's work and submit it one day before his peer does. Patricia was speechless. It was like something supernatural at work. He saw that the way Luis's story was going, it was bound to win the award at the competition. So he stuck with his plan. For 12 days, Pedro reported back to Patricia with the gist of Luis's script, and for 12 days, Patricia copied the story as is. On the 13th day, Patricia wrote his ending and submitted the story. A few weeks later, he got a call from the committee which decides the winner. He had won. He had achieved the three-peat. Elated, he went to their office to collect the award. However, he was asked to wait for another guest of theirs, Pedro. Patricia was suddenly frightened that Pedro had revealed that he copied Luis's story. He was afraid the committee brought him in to charge him. But what happened was something that he could never have dreamt in a million dreams. The committee member congratulated Patricia and Pedro, naming them both the winners of that year. Their stories were so close to each other in content, and though the endings differed, they were both so excellent in themselves, that they could not settle on which one was the best. With that, the committee member read out the endings of both Luis Patricia and Luis Pedro's stories, so that the writers themselves could appreciate the selector's dilemma. Luis Patricia's ending went along these lines. On the day before the deadline, when the writer sat down to write down his ending to the story he copied from his peer, he noticed a fatal flaw in his spy's reports. The peer's story has a man spying on his competitor. So, shouldn't the peer be more cautious of leaving his scripts on the bench while feeding the birds? The writer began to doubt his spy's reports. So the writer himself went down to the park to see the peer's scripts for himself. He saw the spy he hired on a bench with some papers. He sees the spy writing in those papers. The writer realizes that the spy whom he hired was, in fact, his peer. Then the committee member read out Luis Pedro's ending. The spy dutifully reported to the writer what his peer wrote on each day. He had only one more day to go before this job was completed. But the spy had one dissatisfaction. He had never seen the peer's face. So, on the last day, the spy reached the park early and waited to see who left the scripts on the bench. Imagine his surprise when he saw the writer who hired him come to the bench and leave the papers there. The spy realizes that the writer appointed him and created an elusive peer character just to fabricate a story. And thus, history was made in 1979. The only year in which two writers won it.